verbal or life.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Verbal on Life. I'm Noel, your retired teacher with a front row seat to the political circus. Today, we're diving into something hot off the press. Trump's DOGE cuts reportedly say that 8.5 billion's been slashed from federal contracts. Is that a big win or a big hype? Let's break it down like I used to do in classroom. Facts first. All right. So let's take a look at an opinion from Big Money Show, giving us nothing but facts. All right. Let's take a look. All right. My new setup here. Hopefully this works out. Getting back into YouTube.
DOGE is on the move. Up next at the IRS and our gold reserves.
I've been trying to go down and see the gold and make sure it's all there for about 10 years. I think the more sunlight, the better, more transparency, the better.
With DOGE continuing its search for wasteful spending, Democrats insist on putting up roadblocks. Senator Elizabeth Warren tweeting this. Good news. After we raised the alarm, DOGE has been blocked from accessing sensitive Department of Education data. Your social security number, income data, and personal information are safe for now. We will keep fighting back. But Utah Senator Mike Lee just was not having it. He responded, you literally passed a law giving IRS visibility into Venmo payments, and now you're all about privacy, but only for DOGE because it's trying to weed out waste, fraud, and abuse of taxpayer funds.
And it's like the people who are doing the most screaming and talking and complaining about it, they're the one that look like they're hiding something. Right? It only makes sense. The people with the fraud are the ones that are screaming about this whole situation. So we got to investigate her, see what she's up to.
And are the vampires living amongst us? Because Elon Musk taking a peek into Social Security, apparently over 20 million recipients are listed as being above the age of 100, with one being listed between the ages of 360 and 369 years old.
I wonder, are those people getting paid? Are they receiving a check, or are they just listed as being on Social Security? Right? If they're getting a check and they need to prove it, just show it to us. Why are these people collecting Social Security?
Like to eat what that person is eating. Now, a judge is ordering an extension on the temporary block of Musk's access to the government efficiency department. I guess musician Sheryl Crow would be happy with all of these roadblocks because the Grammy winner, she sold her Tesla. She donated the money to NPR in protest of Elon Musk. I'm sure that's the best use of her money. Welcome to the second hour of the Big Money Show. I'm Jackie DeAngelis, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Taylor Riggs, Dagan McDowell, Jeff Flock, in for Brian Brunberg, and O'Leary Ventures Chairman Kevin.
And I'm Noel, going to be looking at this video, giving you guys my opinion.
O'Leary is sticking around for another jam-packed hour. We're going to begin on Capitol Hill with the latest DOGE moves. Hillary Vaughn has them for us. Hi, Hillary.
Hi, Jackie. Well, there is a concern that DOGE is getting access to sensitive information at the IRS, but this is something that people at the IRS have access to every single day to do their job. So the people who are protesting are really mad that DOGE is the one who's getting to look under the hood. The White House has insisted that anyone viewing anything sensitive or classified or private has the clearance and appropriate approval to do so. A White House official says that direct access to what's called the Integrated Data Retrieval System, which includes visual access to taxpayer accounts, is needed to audit the IRS, something the IRS workers do every day to Americans. The IRS is also...
You know, it's crazy that the people that are complaining are supposedly our politicians. Not supposedly, they are our politicians. They're supposed to be fighting for you and me, fighting for the people, fighting for transparency. But instead, they're doing it backwards, right? They want to hide what they're doing, and it just comes off like they're doing something bad. I mean, comment down below, what do you think? Why would they even complain about this? We needed this. And somebody's doing it for free? Elon Musk, the world's richest man?
Also not immune from downsizing. AP reports they will lay off thousands of IRS workers who have been in the probation period of their employment, with cuts happening as soon as next week.
People work very hard to pay their taxes every single day. They're hurting. They see wasteful government spending. We need to have government in the sunshine. We need to have spending in the sunshine.
In addition to finding fraud, DOGE is discovering lost taxpayer cash. DOGE helping the Department of Housing and Urban Development relocate $1.9 billion that had gone missing under Biden. That's nearly $2 billion that they say the Treasury can now use for other things. DOGE.
Were they that lazy that they would just stop looking for so much money that the people can use? And now they're discovering money? Like, that is just sad.
Has also been digging into Social Security. Elon Musk estimating there are about 60 million more Social Security numbers issued than there are Americans, saying, quote, there are far more eligible Social Security numbers than there are citizens in the USA. This might be the biggest fraud in history, but Democrats.
Again, it's all about clearing the books, and that's it. Stop using old, antiquated systems that really only old people and old programmers know how to use or can go into them. Given in an age where we have artificial intelligence that can actually do all of this, why are we not moving up? Why are we not moving up our systems?
Say DOGE is exaggerating all this fraud they're finding.
These are by and large performative theatric measures. They'll pick these one-off cases and they'll say this is broad policy. This is what an entire department or agency does or represents. And it's just not true.
Musk also found that there's over 4 million people in the Social Security database who have an age over 140 years old. The oldest person alive right now in the world is 116 years old. So this is either a smoking gun for fraud, or as Elon Musk joked, vampires could be real. Jackie?
Vampires could be real. At the end of the day, if these people are not getting paid, they need to be cleared off the books. Like, why are they even on there? And it's a simple spreadsheet. Just search, and if they're there getting money, taking them out. So like that, we don't have to think about it. Come on now.
They just might be. Hillary Vaughn, thank you so much. Meantime, there's more money set to come back to taxpayers across this country. But how soon until the left starts screaming about the D.C. housing market and unemployment numbers that are spiking? The median home value dropped 20% since November, and unemployment in D.C. for the week ending February 8th. The jobless filings were up 36% from the week prior. One more thing I thought was really interesting. The Kobayashi letter says 8,000 homes were listed for sale in Washington, D.C. and the metro area. Almost half of them have been put on the market in the last 30 days alone. So while the Democrats are melting down and they can keep crying and cursing and holding rallies.
And eventually they're going to find Republicans who are just staying quiet, not saying a thing, or not saying a word, because they might be in on the take also. So I think if you're a politician, there's a high probability that you're in on this.
But as Charles Payne said in the previous hour, they're not listening. You've also got a swamp that's being drained, and these numbers are evidence of that. You're new in this hour, Jeff. What's your reaction?
Well, it's kind of an indication about how things have changed. I'm old enough to remember something called the Golden Fleece Award, which a Democrat senator from Wisconsin named William Proxmire started in 1975. And each month he would give an award to a government agency that was wasting our money. Mm-hmm. This went on for years. It was the Democrats that were doing this. And now a couple of generations later, right? Now it's the Republicans that are taking the lead on it.
It almost feels like they go back and forth, right? At first it was the Democrats that wanted everything to be clear, smaller government, everything needs to be for the people. And now it's switching. Now it's the Republicans that want smaller government, everything for the people. So it's like a game they're playing. It's a whole psyop, man. And this old man, check out what he says.
And, I think arguably our government could have used a little bit of a shakeup. I don't know. You don't want to shake it too hard, but a shakeup. Yeah. Oh, you do. Oh, I know. Dagan wants to.
Yeah. Why did he even say that? You don't want to shake it too hard. Why not? Shake it hard and then make it all fall apart. So then rebuild it. Rebuild it properly how it should look. So yes, the government should be shaken up as hard as possible. Let all the pieces fall apart and then put it together the right way.
Yes, I want to, Kevin, shake it until it doesn't feel good.
I remember the Fleece Awards. However, they didn't have social media in those days.
Right.
And so the message didn't get out as quickly as it's getting now, because it was always the bottom of the story of the day. I remember that award.
Yeah.
But this is good stuff going on. I don't know why anybody would think it isn't. And it hasn't ever been done. And I think it's a wonderful idea that this money stays in the economy instead of being wasted, because it would make the whole country more productive. And that's really why everybody, I would bet you 7 out of 10 people on the street like what's going on this cost-cutting stuff.
Everybody loves what's going on. Anybody who doesn't is just lying, because regular people are not getting a cut out of this. There's a lot of people becoming rich off the government with fraud and abuse and all of that. So anybody who's not into government, they got to be honest. Like, what is this? Why are we sitting back paying taxes, making somebody else rich?
And every day it's getting more interesting, because they read the crazy stories and they say, that's my money. I have $68,000 average salary and I'm watching this. This is working. It's really interesting to watch it work.
In honor of Kevin O'Leary, because I know he's all about permitting reform. I think, Jackie, for me, DOGE goes a little bit step deeper. I think I love cutting the waste, fraud, and abuse, cutting the money, slashing jobs. But I think the next layer is going to have to be government working around red tape, because we all remember, and this is from the New York Times this morning, where they say passing a law is all great, but then you have companies are involved, agencies, you're applying for permits. How do you meet regulatory standards for construction? Blah.
That's what's next. They got to get rid of all of that. All right. The system is way too big, too many rules. They don't let the builders build. I heard that from Elon Musk. But yeah, government is too big and we got to get rid of it. That's the next thing. After they're done auditing, hopefully they start cutting out government intervention.
Blah, blah. It could be months or years before actual building of, let's say, a home or a new factory can actually start. You guys all remember, more than 2 years after Congress enacted the $5 billion EV charging stations, there's just 2, Ohio and New York, that have actually opened any. And in 3 years, only a number, dozens, have actually opened. That's
Again, the red tapes and why we got to go through hurdles and trying to figure out how to get things done. Cut down the government and let people just build things.
below the hundreds that they promised us. So I love DOGE and the cost cutting, but I also eventually want to see, how do we deal with the red tape, keeping things safe with the permitting, but cutting the crap that takes years and years.
What does that even mean, keeping people safe or keeping things safe? I mean, you cut out a program, it goes into pause, so people go find another job. That sounds safe to me. So it's not like they're building like a nuclear bomb and we are in danger. We're not in danger. We got too many people working, doing nothing.
To go through to get anything done.
That $5 billion program specifically ran through the Department of Transportation, called the NEVI program. Only about, it's less than $700 million was sent out to the states. Sean Duffy sent out a memo saying we're putting a stop to this, so no more money goes out, and that any approvals that the states had submitted to the Department of Transportation, he has put the kibosh on them and said whatever approvals you submitted, we're putting pause on that.
Yeah, and we got to be done with the spending and with the not knowing. How can we not know where money is going? You know, let's clear things up. People are in charge. You have a set period to send the money before somebody else comes into the job, and just get it done.
But you will hear, for example, Senator Tim Kaine talking about this is a war on veterans and the VA is slashing jobs. Be very careful, because the caterwauling and the shrieking, particularly by lawmakers who live in the kind of greater DC area, Charlie Hurt said this Friday, they're very concerned about those constituents losing their lunch money, so to speak, because 1,000 jobs, probationary jobs, were eliminated last week at the VA. That is 0.2% of the VA's 450,000 people who work.
Entry-level jobs. These are people who are just starting out, right? No matter how old they are, they got to be young because you're starting into position. And look at that, she just said it, 0.2%. That's nothing. 1,000 sounds like a big number, but you got to look at the whole thing, the whole scheme of things.
There. And it is only 2% of the total probationary number of employees. This every bureaucrat is sacred is absolute hog manure. And that is how we got into this situation that we're in now, where we have government so bloated and dysfunctional that it's just a complete waste of not only time, but our hard-earned money.
Absolutely. And I really think that people, we've said this time and time again, they voted for this. But the thing is, how do you keep it going? How do we ensure that after Donald Trump, even if he wins the court battles and even if Elon Musk is successful in what he's doing, that this becomes, a lasting part of American?
True. How do we keep it going? We just don't need this to be around for 4 years. She is exactly right. We need to keep going with this. Or what are we going to do next? Just watch the republic crumble?
In culture, I would call it.
I was thinking about that very thing. How do you make it function?
Yeah.
How do you make it function after you right size it?
I think it goes into the DNA of the electorate. And so they ask each party every time there's an election cycle, whether it be midterm or, presidential election, what are you going to do for me on DOGE?
Yeah.
What are you going to do for me to keep cutting? What are you going to show me that you stay productive? How are you going to make it even better? Because there's always fat on the chicken. There's always.
And what are they going to do to keep people like the members in DOGE working? These are capable people who are honest people who care and want to keep it going properly, how we're supposed to. So we need people with the skills. Hopefully the people like DOGE train new members to come in, because we cannot expect the DOGE member to be there for the rest of their life, right? It's temporary jobs. Hopefully they'll be out by July 2026, but they got to train new members to be able to continue the work.
Always fat, and you can keep cutting all the time. I think it's a productivity tool that comes into the electorate forever. It's a very cool thing that's going on here.
Yeah.
I think the outcome of this could be Trump's biggest legacy, that he let this happen. Because whether you like him or you don't, no one's ever done this before.
Yeah, the trick is to keep him on there. And I'm talking about the DOGE team. We got to keep him on board. Not the particular members, but the training new people to stay there and continue their job.
And I just, to insert and be a skunk at the garden party here, say that you got to do it carefully. I think scalpel, not machete, for a lot of.
This guy is the skunk in the party. What the hell is he talking about? To be careful. No, how about you just do it and rebuild? Stop being so careful. Like it's been done like that for years, and look where we're at. With all the chaos, the fraud and abuse. How about we eliminate the fraud and abuse and just cut everything out? Let's go.
This is important because if you screw it up somehow and something does go wrong, like they fired some guys at the agency that controls the nuclear stockpile, they realized, whoa, wait a minute, that we better not do that. And
simple as that. Bring them back to work. They got fired. They realized they need those individuals and called them back. Doesn't sound crazy. Doesn't sound like they went above and beyond or that anything blew up. So stop acting like this. This guy sounds like an old man working for the Democrats. Maybe he's getting paid, but it's not that deep. Nothing blew up and nothing's gonna blow up. Just turn it down, get rid of people, and then bring it back if you need to.
And they brought him back. Do it carefully so that it's successful and it doesn't screw something up that jeopardizes the agenda going.
Politicians want to act like the work they do is like critical, like they're surgeons, like they're heart surgeons. And if they don't do everything right, somebody's going to die. Let's be honest here. We're grown adults. This is social science. Something goes wrong and it gets fixed quickly, especially now with the president we got who does things overnight. So let's not act like we're dealing with surgery here or like open heart surgery. This guy is a clown.
Probationary employees, because probationary employees don't have the civil service protections at this point.
Right.
So it's probationary employees, it's last hired, first fired, which these civil service protections essentially force anybody who wants to cut the chicken fat to do. And
nobody's job is critical. I think the people that Trump appointed at the table, that the secretary, way at the top, those you could consider critical jobs. But nobody's job is critical. We got to take a look at government job as they are. Just government job that cycles through people all the time. You get new people, old people just keep it moving, so on and so on. But it's not critical job where things are going to blow up.
As Jackie Heinrich pointed out, HHS let 3,600 probationary employees go last week, but 4,000 were retained in areas like science and research.
That's what I'm saying. Just, get it right.
I just go back to Elon Musk in the Oval Office from last week when he talked about, listen, we are going to make mistakes. We're being transparent about it. We have checks and balances internally where, the president's overseeing what they're doing and they're watching each other as well. And I appreciated that because it was honest. It was like, we're humans. Yes. We're trying to do something here. It's never.
Exactly. They're trying to do something. And again, it is not that critical. It's only critical to the politicians making millions because you're dipping into their bag. You're dipping into their pocket. That's the only people that are scared. Okay? Not only because they're going to cut out the money coming to them, but also because they might go to jail for theft. What else is going to get uncovered? What other hype news is going to come out? That they'll be stealing? So let's all be honest here. These are not critical jobs, and the regular people should not be convinced. They shouldn't let these politicians trick them into thinking that, if they don't do it right, the government is going to collapse. And I don't think so. It's not going to collapse. But comment down below. Let me know what you think. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. I'm trying to do this new setup. Hopefully I don't get banned on YouTube for running a video here. I put a border on it and wrote a little comment there. And let's see. All right, let's do one more video. This is called This Is Past Shameful. Jon Taffer goes off on Democrat criticizing Musk. Check it out.
DOGE hasn't even touched the healthcare system yet, the grand prize of all the federal fraud jackpots. David Walker, he was head of the Government Accountability Office for 10 years. He says he wouldn't be surprised if there's $1 trillion.
All right, sorry for the pause. Let me see if I can fix this.
In fraud and abuse waiting to be uncovered. That's a lot of zeros, folks. Let's get right to it.
I don't know why it's
and start with you, John, because you've taken failing businesses, you've turned them around. In corporate America, if we're talking about a company with CEOs, they restructure, they trim the fat, they do what they have to do to be profitable. That seems like what Elon Musk and DOGE are doing with Trump overseeing it. What's the problem?
There should be absolutely no problem. I find it interesting that the Democrats are saying he doesn't have accounting skills. But yet if a whistleblower who swept floors came forward with this information, that would be acceptable. So,
oh my God, he is so right. Elon Musk got the best accounting skills, because who becomes the world's richest man and willing to help the government? Come on now.
They're reaching for anything that they can find to create a point of resistance. And let's understand, this is now a resistance party. Their function is to resist the progress that we're trying to create.
Yeah.
So they're going to come up with every little nugget that they can that will fuel their resistance effort. The fact of the matter is, I don't believe they're going to work, because the fact is, I believe every American likes to know these things and is offended by it. Certainly every small business person I work with, when they see this waste and this neglect, how do we run anything like this? How does this even happen to this depth? This is past shameful. This is a complete disrespect for us as citizens and for our dollars. And it's nice to see that some act of respectfulness is happening now to fight for the dollars that we work so hard for. You bet. And I'm going to tell you, those business owners are angry.
Well, I've seen they are purging all the federal workers. Trump is doing a crazy job, and they don't know how to deal with him. When I say they, I mean the Democrats.
Your show, and I've watched how you do this with businesses. And one of the things that's clear is if you want to fix a failing business, you've got to go deep into how they do things. And a lot of times, probably most of the time, actually, that means you got to figure out who's on board, who's on the bus, who shouldn't be on the bus. And that is exactly where President Trump and Elon Musk have started. And they did it, to me, in a probably nicer way than you would do it on your show.
I think so.
They did it with this very generous buyout, right? And judge got in the way of it, but now the judge says it's okay to do that. To me, if you're going to make a change, it goes back to the old saying, personnel is policy, John. That's a good move if we're hoping for results, isn't it?
I think so, absolutely. You know, what's interesting is every business has backup for every check written. There's accounting backup that has to exist for any check. So if I go to one of my businesses and I ask, why was this check written? I have backup. There's a contract that prompts it, an invoice that prompts it, something that prompts it. The one that really got me is there are contracts that expired 10 years ago that we're still writing checks for. How does that even happen? Unauthorized checks, no backup, no line items listed. This isn't a mistake. This is outright neglect.
And what's fascinating is that
and that's kind of the reason why, again, people are scared that they might get called up by the DOJ and they might go to jail. I mean, let's be honest. You got to put yourself in their shoes and thinking about the fact that they're going above and beyond the code of duty to hide everything because they don't want to be held responsible.
Democrats are trying to stall the process. And the only way that they can do that is to try to do it in court. It's not working, however.
And they're saying the Democrats, but at the end of the day, when Republican names start popping up, it's going to come out that politicians in general are trying to put a stop to it.
However, because that Boston judge that we were talking about the other day, the Clinton appointee O'Toole, had paused the federal buyout offer. Now that can proceed. That judge said they didn't have subject matter jurisdiction. A district court clarified the administration can limit the access of federal funds under certain conditions. That was also a big win for Trump. When I was reading about both these cases, I said to myself, these judges, while they are liberal, while they were appointed by Democrats, they also understand that their legacy is at stake here. You cannot completely misappropriate the law. And so ultimately, when they're looking at the facts, they understand that if they just kind of pull something out of a hat, it's not going to work.
That's my worry, though. I'm glad that you brought up the court system. And John, maybe I'll ask you this too. All week in the last 3 weeks, we've all been talking about, we understand that the private sector moves faster and they are trying to bring private sector speed to government blow, and it's taking time. We've talked a lot about how these cases could end up in the Supreme Court, and maybe that's good because we'll get final clarity resolution on if Congress has authority, if the president has executive authority. My concern, though, is the time that takes being eat up in these courts. Jack.
Exactly. Using the fact that the government moves slowly in comparison to the private sector. And I don't think Trump is going to allow this to happen, or he's going to figure out how to move fast.
You talked about one judge here, and then you have another judge overruling, and that's good. They're thinking about their legacy, and they're thinking legally how this should work. But in the private sector, you're not afforded that time. You're given, 30 days, or you're out of business, and you're shutting down, and you're laying people off. That's the speed that I want, and I feel like this government, even getting the courts involved, if that may be good, is frustrating because it does slow things down. And frankly, I look at our debt and our deficit, and I say, we don't have time for that. We have 30 days.
Yes, I agree. And the fact of the matter is, when you look at any business model, there's a monthly P&L.
Yes.
There's some document that comes out that you react to at the end of the month. Why have we not reacted all these
P&L, I'm assuming, is profit and loss.
Years? I mean, how does this happen? How did department heads run these? How do these inspectors exist when the simple backup for a check doesn't exist? It's remarkable to me that we could find ourselves in this position.
Again, there's rotating characters in government, right? If somebody gets fired or loses their job or switches to do something else, they leave all the documents there, and hopefully the next guy could take a look and update the records, stop the checks, or do things. But that's one of the things the government does, right? When it switches personnel, the new guy got to figure out what's going on.
It's a sad case for our government.
Well, the guys on the podcast, the Obama guy said, "Oh, we wanted to do this. We should have done this." That's sort of this revisionist history. Like everyone's been on board with this, John.
Great excuse.
Obviously, they're not. They didn't do anything.
Yeah. Well, Kansas City wanted to win the Super Bowl too.
Oh,
not hard enough, I guess.
So the point that I'm making is we're accountable. we're accountable.
Yeah.
I work in business, and you're right. Business is much more nimble. We flex. We have to move with the marketplace, or we don't survive. So, I'm out talking to small business people. They're blown away by this. They're astonished by it. That the basic principles of accounting have been ignored.
Well, can I just mention this? Because Senator James Langford, Republican from Oklahoma, he does this annual book of federal fumbles. And I think it's the 8th installment that just came out. So he's done 7 of them before. And if you watch them, he's highlighting all of these issues, but they never really gain traction. Actually, we had him on the bottom line just the other night, and we said, now it feels different because it feels like people are listening to you and there's a team in place to actually be able to implement change. And that is what the American people voted for.
And I think at the end of the day, the fact that Elon Musk got X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, I think that's what's helping him so much. All right, let me change this format real quick. I think the fact that Elon Musk got X is what giving the government more, what's it called, of a kick, right? Putting all the information out to the public so people are aware of what's going on, and so quickly. Like, we don't have to wait for investigations. We don't have to wait for the government to get on top of things. No, he finds something out, he posts it on X. And then he tells us that he let Trump know what he just found. So everything is moving so quickly, thanks to the fact that he bought X. And now social media, I think, is destroying the government party, right? Social media is the one advertising to everybody, and we don't have to wait for CBS or ABC or NBC to say anything. We are the ones that are publicizing information. Like on this channel, I want to set it up so like that I can get information from Elon Musk and other media sources and post it on here. I am trying out this new format where I'm putting the video out here on the side. Hopefully I don't get a strike, because my other 2 channels, I got 2 strikes already, and a 3rd strike and my whole channel gets deleted. So I am praying to God I don't get my channel done. But if you enjoy watching this video stream, go ahead and give this video a like. That's all I ever ask for. Don't need subscribers or anything. But if you want to subscribe, go ahead and click on that button. And we're going to keep giving you guys information more and more every day. Let's just hope now that YouTube is okay with this new format that I'm running. I got the video on the side, and I'll put the title on the screen. With that said, my name is Noel, battling MS here, retired school teacher, bringing you the content. With that said, peace.